They were like, "Can you make this race interesting?" They're like, "No, I surrender. We can't do it."
Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 14 of the F1 chat. Apparently I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Because apparently we just watched the fucking French F1. That's our thoughts on the French F1 race.
So we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. See you next
Spotify, all that shit.
Yeah.
No, this is episode 14 of the F1 chat. I'm your host, Phil Lamington. Sitting to my left is a man who, at least he stayed up and watched the race.
If you could call it that.
If you want to call it that.
The procession?
It's JB. How are you, JB?
Well, I feel like I cheated myself out of like 2 hours of good sleep. To be honest with you, man. Yeah, that was one of the more dull races we've watched.
Yeah.
Even with these current regulations, it was a fizzer.
Yeah. And to my right is a man who, well, he doesn't make baffling decisions like Ferrari. He kind of wishes the Williams team would make baffling decisions like the Ferrari team, just so it'd spice up their race a little bit. It's Longhorn. How are you, my friend?
I don't know about that. I tried to watch this race twice, so that's pretty baffling. And both times I fell asleep.
To my credit, like, I got to Sonoda spinning out and then passed out and then woke up when everyone was boxing because of the safety car because of what happened with Leclerc.
On the night, I got to lap 15, so right before something interesting actually happened. Fell asleep, bang, gone. Ooh, got up in the morning, righto, go to work. Got home a bit early before the potty and thought, I'll finish off the rest of it, instead of watching it here, so I'm all caught up. Dozed off again. I watched like another 10 laps and bang, I was out. I mean, to be fair, I've had a massive week, but this race just had nothing in it to keep you like, when you're like struggling a little bit, it was just, I'm gone.
And for me, like, I already had a massive weekend because I had 3 gigs in 2 days, so I was already just dead on my feet for most of the day. But this track is really divisive.
It's such an eyesore to watch. I think that's what actually keeps putting me to sleep. It's like hypnosis, they're driving and all the that's what it felt like watching it, you know what I mean? Like, put you to sleep, like, ooh, you're asleep.
You're
like,
getting very
you're getting tired.
sleepy.
Yeah.
Very sleepy. Even the trophies look stupid, though.
There's
The monkey.
fucking
nothing
gorilla.
interesting.
The big gorilla.
Like, you could tell it's a French race because the track looks just
Because it's boring.
Because it's fucking boring.
because it quit. It's
quit on itself.
It surrendered as soon as the Germans showed up. It was just like, you can have it. Fine, fuck it.
My fucking interest surrendered.
They were like, "Can you make this race interesting?" They're like, "No, I surrender. We can't do it."
Yeah, no, legit. I was going to call it quits. I was falling asleep, and I was literally a lap away from turning it off when the big fucking highlight moment happened. And that kept me
What's
awake.
that? The green light started.
Yeah. No, the hot French
Checkered
chick.
flag.
The F2 race ended.
The hot French chick that sang the national anthem.
Oh, I completely
Yeah.
missed that.
I
think
missed
I
that.
missed
I had
that.
seen you. That's what made me. I was actually watching the F2 when you said that, and I was like, "What? Whoops!" I flicked over. I just missed it, so I was even more disappointed.
That was the most interesting part of the whole race.
Well, speaking of the F2, it's that time.
Oh God.
It's that time where Longhorn takes over because clearly I can't even nail a fucking intro on this show. So Longhorn taking over with the F2 report.
We got there in the end. We managed to start the show. Righto. So
The fucking outtakes at the end are going to be great.
So this week in F2, we had another sprint race. I don't know what's going on in F2, but every week they're just like, we're having sprint races. Sprint races for everyone. You get one. Everyone gets a sprint race.
No, that's how Formula 2 works. No, legitimately, every race they'll have a sprint and a feature. They'll always have 2 races a
Do
week.
they always have a sprint?
Yep.
I swear they didn't at What was the first one we started doing? I swear they didn't have a sprint that time.
Yeah, they will. They'll have a sprint race and a feature race every weekend.
Oh, God, what
Was
have I
that
signed myself up to?
Yeah.
Was that Silverstone when we first did the?
I think
The F2
Silverstone was
report?
the first one.
Yeah.
Maybe they did have a sprint race.
Yeah, they'll have a sprint race and a feature race every weekend.
Oh, gosh.
You dipped yourself in double duty, mate.
I really did.
Mm.
What am I doing? Anyway, speaking of that, my duty, I have to be honest, I only got to watch highlights this week. I just did not have the time to sit down and watch extra hours and hours of racing this weekend. So, but from what I watched in the highlights, the sprint race and the feature race for F2 was a lot more interesting than the F1 somehow. Had quite some good scraps between teammates and between some of the protagonists this year who's at the top. So come up with some pretty interesting racing. But we start off with the qualifying, and Logan Sargent took pole again. Someone in really good form at the moment.
He is. He really is.
He's just sort of switched it on. And took pole. In second, Ayumi Iwasa, who's also starting to hit a bit of form at the moment. Now, there's a few drivers right in this middle part of the season that's sort of just starting to hit their stride a little bit. And it's good to watch. In third, we got Frederick Vesti. Fourth, Felipe Drugovich. Fifth, Jack Doohan. Sixth, Teo Pourchaire. Seventh, Yuri Vips. Eighth, Marcus Armstrong. Ninth, Liam Lawson. And 10th, Jehan Daruvla. And then that gets us into the sprint race. Now, I'm just going to give everyone the results because, as I said, I only really got to watch the highlights this week, but the highlights did show quite a decent race for the sprint race. But our winner for the sprint race was the young Kiwi, Liam Lawson. In second, Jehan Daruvla. In third, Teo Pourchaire. In fourth, Felipe Drugovich. Fifth, Jack Doohan. Sixth, Yuri Vips. Seventh, Frederick Vesti. Eighth, Ayumi Iwasa. Ninth, Marcus Armstrong. And 10th, Logan Sargent. And just on Jack Doohan, both these races this weekend, I watched the start of them. He's really nailing the starts. In this race, he went from fourth to first off the start. And then in the feature race, I think he did the same. Like, he just blitzed it. He seems to be a really good starter, but unfortunately didn't finish strongly, as we'll get to the next one, the feature race. So in our feature race, we have a first-time winner. We have the young Japanese driver Yuma Iwasa taking his first win in F2.
Good on him.
Good to see.
He dominated that race too.
He did.
Like,
yep.
he pissed it in.
He did. He really did. I think Doohan took it off the start, and then Iwasa got him halfway through the first lap, and that was it.
Yeah.
It was off.
No, it was a good drive.
To round out the podium, we had next in the podium, not rounded out. In second, we have Teo Pourchaire. In third, we have Frederick Vesti. Then we have in fourth, we have Felipe Drugovich. In fifth, we have Jack Doohan. Sixth, we have Liam Lawson. Seventh, we have Jehan Daruvla. Eighth, we have Clement Novalak. Ninth, we have Roy Nassani. And 10th, we have Enzo Fittipaldi. Unfortunately for Logan Sargent in this race, he had some trouble in the pits, and his that was the end of his day. I'm not sure what happened, but they something went wrong in the pits, and the car that was it. It was cooked.
He lost the engine, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It
Yeah.
looked like he stalled it, and then
He couldn't get it started.
get it started again.
Yeah.
So the pits gave him the shits.
So yeah,
He had
That
the
was the one.
pits in the pits, mate. Yeah.
Shits in the pits.
Poor kid.
so yeah, that's our quick wrap up for F2 this week, guys.
All right. Now we're moving over to the F1 report.
Yeah.
JB. So actually, if you want, I can do this.
You can do this?
I can do this.
Yeah, sure. Hit me with
Yeah,
your
it
report.
started, it ended. Bye. See you.
Yeah.
Moving to the news items.
That is awesome.
It started, some people crashed, and then it ended. But the French chick singing the anthem was well worth the admission. But to go more in depth as we could in this race, because literally I wrote down just about every detail, because that's just how nothing... Either that or I was going to have a blank page.
You were looking for things.
I was
Right,
looking
so-
for things to write because the race was just dull.
Just like Perez trying to get rid of Russell towards the end. We should have just bought you a damn fishing rod.
Yeah.
Just fishing.
Yeah.
Just fishing.
All right. So, lap 1. Charles Leclerc starts on pole position from Max Verstappen. Leclerc holds off Max, Hamilton jumps Perez, and Alonso gets a great launch into 5th. Yuki Tsunoda is spun further back in the pack, Esteban Ocon hitting him after understeering on the curbs. Lap 4, Esteban Ocon is given a 5-second time penalty for hitting Tsunoda. Lap 9 and 10, Haas going an aggressive two-stop strategy with Magnussen and Schumacher both pitting for fresh hard tyres. Lap 12, Charles Leclerc leads Ferrari's 50,000th mile in the lead of a Grand Prix over their history, and Fernando Alonso breaks Kimi Raikkonen's record for the most laps raced on the same lap of the race. It was pretty interesting, because it was the only thing that was interesting. Lap 13, Carlos Sainz gets past Lance Stroll into 10th after starting from the back row of the grid. Lap 16, Max Verstappen pits from 2nd place, a 2.4 second stop for fresh hard tyres. Lap 18, Charles Leclerc fires off into the tyre barriers while leading the Grand Prix, a safety car triggering a flurry of pit stops. Lap 21, Yuki Tsunoda retires from the race. Charles Leclerc mentions the throttle pedal after his shunt. The race restarts, Verstappen leading Hamilton. Sainz gets past both McLarens in the first racing lap back, but is out of sequence in terms of pit strategy. Lap 23, Mick Schumacher spins in the Haas but continues contact with Zhou Guanyu, the most likely cause as he pits for a new front wing. Lap 24, Carlos Sainz is handed a 5-second time penalty for an unsafe release in the pit lane, unravelling the afternoon for Ferrari. Lap 26, Zhou Guanyu is given a 5-second time penalty for his collision with Mick Schumacher. Lap 30, Carlos Sainz throws a ballsy move around the outside of turn 11 on George Russell. Lap 38, Nicholas Latifi is hit by Kevin Magnussen into turn 1. Magnussen retires through damage. Lap 42, Carlos Sainz gets past Sergio Perez with a great move, but in the midst of the moves he's told by Ferrari to box, but he ignores them. Lap 43, George Russell dives at Sergio Perez but forces him off. Sainz pits and takes his penalty, putting on fresh mediums and dropping to P9. Lap 46, Sainz gets past Norris and Ocon gets past Ricciardo. Lap 48, Sainz climbs into 5th, getting past Fernando Alonso. Lap 49, Zhou Guanyu's Alfa Romeo is stranded by the side of the track, virtual safety car being deployed. Lap 51, George Russell catches Sergio Perez napping off the VSC restart, pushing up onto the podium. And lap 53, Max Verstappen wins the French Grand Prix from the Mercedes pairing of Lewis Hamilton and George Russell, with Perez finishing a close 4th. Carlos Sainz gets the fastest lap and driver of the day.
And finishes 5th. Fernando Alonso finishes 6th. Lando Norris finishes 7th. Esteban Ocon finishes 8th. Daniel Ricciardo finishes 9th. And Lance Stroll finishes 10th. So, this race...
This was the race. Like, the commentators were saying going into the race, this could be the last French Grand Prix. And kudos to the French, they packed it out. 70,000 Frenchmen were there, and they all had, like, their own individual French flags. It was cool to watch, you know.
Yeah, give them that.
They did their best to put on a show and show that they still want a French Grand Prix. Unfortunately, if this was the race to save them, it's not going to happen.
I think the problem with this race was that it had little bits of excitement. I don't think it was completely devoid of stuff.
It had moments, but yeah.
But I think, and it's something we'll touch on a little bit later with a news item, but I think once Charles Leclerc put it in the wall, the interest in the race just completely bottomed out.
Well, you knew Verstappen was just going to run away with it.
Yeah, he was just going to romp away with it. The only real interest was between Russell and Perez towards the end, and Carlos Sainz.
Yeah,
but even with Sainz, they sort of killed that interest a bit when they did that extra pit stop. Well, they did that pit stop when he had done the excitement part of pushing up he got in front of Perez, I believe. That's when they had that silly moment where they were telling him to box as he's overtaking Perez on the straight to go into, was it third? Perez third at that time?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it was.
So he
both
got
of them.
into the podium place and could have just kept pushing and pushing. All it would have been interesting to see if he could have pushed that extra 2.5 second gap out.
Don't forget too that the radio messages when they're aired on TV are on a time delay, so they can bleep out any language. So I reckon that message would have been on the back straight
Before,
yeah. And I think
Probably, yeah.
I think Sainz would have realised, hey, there's something going on here. I can get him. And they're like, box, box, box. He's like, no, 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 no. Shut your face.
But then box next lap. It's like, hang on. If you're
Yeah.
if you're not going to box when they said then because you've seen an opportunity to overtake Perez and then drive in fresh air, why don't you continue with that strategy?
Yeah, well, they did later on say that the tyres they were worried about the tyre life. So
Which is easy enough to reason considering Charles Leclerc spun off early in the race
yeah,
with the same amount of tyre deg.
yeah, it's right.
So, yeah.
But the track itself, like when we played it in the game, like I always thought it was a fun track to drive.
I hate it.
But it's all this colourful bullshit they put around it, and like there's 500 different layouts of it. They need
Yeah, it's frustrating to look at. You see all
Oh.
these off-roads going off, and
yeah,
you're like,
and it's
I'd
just
be confused as a driver.
yeah.
Almost.
And there's so much runoff. I mean, I'm amazed that Leclerc hit a wall. There's so much runoff there.
Yeah, I actually can't believe he made it to the barrier.
Yeah,
That's a long way, man. That's like 50 meters.
yeah.
yeah,
And all he really did was understeer and then, lose the back end.
yeah. It's.
The fact that he hit a wall was probably the most miraculous part of that whole crash.
I think if
Yeah.
they're gonna, because apparently this is the last French F1 race. If they do keep the French
Contracted,
F1,
last contracted.
Yeah.
Yep.
if they do keep it, I think they need to go back to Magna Core.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
100%.
You know, that's a classic track, and it's always provided great racing. This one,
Yeah, I can't defend Paul Ricard after. And this is with the new regulations that's supposed to promote overtaking.
yeah,
And by fucking lap 8, Max and
It was
Charles are fucking 5 seconds up the road from Hamilton.
yeah,
And it's like, okay, those two are gone. And it's just the rest chasing. It was like...
Wasn't even lap 8. It was like a few laps in. I
yeah.
remember thinking, okay, well, this is the race.
Yeah, it's like this is
It just-
this is like 2020 shit when,
Yeah.
if Lewis Hamilton fucking goes into turn 1
I
in the
kind
lead,
of
he wins the race.
compare it more to just greyhound racing. It's just two doggies trekking off, and everyone else is just still doing their thing.
It's like a MotoGP race when like two riders are like really good at the track and they'll just fuck off into the distance.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, who wants the fucking silver medal?
Mm.
That's really everyone. Pretty much, had Charles Leclerc stayed in the fucking race,
There was
everyone else was competing for bronze.
as Phil said, though, there wasn't even any interesting battles up and down the grid to watch.
Yeah.
There wasn't even interesting in the
Then they
mid-pack,
started
you know?
to. They started to.
Yeah, I mean, like you had Russell and Perez.
Russell and Perez started getting there. You had
Yeah, but that's it. But
Yeah,
there
the
wasn't even
Alpine-
anything lower down to watch. You know?
the Alpines and the McLarens was sort of going as well. But yeah, I mean, right down the back there wasn't really a whole lot going on.
Speaking of things not going on, do Ferrari not want to win? Because they just seemed
Leclerc doesn't seem to want it.
and it's like Josh Ravel did a thing about the Hunt Lauda rivalry, and he kept intercutting clips from the movie Rush, but he also sort of clarified things that were in the movie that weren't done in real life and opposites. And even back in the 70s, Ferrari strategy was just throw coins in the air and see if you get at least two heads.
Yeah.
It's just, they can't do strategy. They got no idea. They're just blunt objects.
They've
And-
got the fastest car on the grid and they keep shooting themselves in the foot.
And then you add Charles Leclerc is just bottling it.
That's going to be the story of Ferrari's season. If we get to the end and Red Bull win it, like it's slowly looking like, because they just seem to be the more reliable
They're more consistent.
team at the moment. Yeah, that will be the story. It'll be like, well, Ferrari probably had the car to win this, but they shot themselves. We can look back and look at all the times they shot themselves on the foot, and you'll probably be able to count up and go, well, if they didn't, they might have won. But I think that's going to be the story of the season.
I said at the start of the year that Charles Leclerc can't race under pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We all
But
said
now
that.
he's making mistakes when he's not under pressure. Like
Is he not though, or is in his head he's under pressure because if he got this win, he would have closed the gap between him and Verstappen? Is he under pressure because he needs to be taking these wins? Does that make
Yeah.
sense? I think he is under pressure.
It's the
Well, he must be because he was overdriving the car.
Yeah,
It's
which
the
he does.
It's the off-track pressure of him being a contender for the championship,
Against Max Verstappen, who is
the
you
world
know,
champion.
Yeah,
And because of all that off-track pressure, it's building towards him making just dumb mistakes on the track. He's not driving.
He didn't need to. He was driving away from Max when he made
Yeah.
that mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But I think with this race, his tyres had finally performed the coup de grace on itself.
Yeah.
He should have boxed a lap earlier, which then leads to it goes back to Ferrari not quite getting the strategy right.
But then also answers the question as to why Ferrari boxed Carlos Sainz.
Yes.
Because they're like, well, Charles Leclerc lost the lead of the race because we held him out too long, maybe. And now, seeing the slow motion camera on Carlos's car with the blistering on the right front, and it's like, well, if this happens again, we're going to look real fucking stupid. So they had to play it safe than sorry.
Yeah.
I'd be if Charles had stayed in the race, Carlos might have pushed on a little longer, but I think they were snake bit at that point.
And besides, I mean, when it comes to science, 10 points is better than no points. So
Exactly.
yeah.
right. So my key people for the race. Obviously, the first key person was Carlos Sainz.
Mm-hmm.
Like he fought back from
Who was driver of the day?
Carlos Sainz.
Yeah, I thought it
He
was.
also had the fastest lap.
Yeah.
He did a really impressive drive despite the team's antics of, tyre safety and all that stuff. He really outdrove the car. And he's really showing that he's more consistent than Charles Leclerc.
We've always said that. We've said, which was surprising at the start of the year that Sainz wasn't when he wasn't quite getting to grips with the car, but now it looks like he is gripped with the car. This is the signs you get, the more consistent, more level-headed, what do they call him? Smooth operator.
Yeah, he's a smooth
Smooth
operator.
Smooth operator, and Leclerc under pressure is doing what we thought Leclerc would do under pressure, so
Yeah.
at least that part's balancing out, because I tell you what, I went back and listened to one of our episodes at the start of the year, pre-season special, and gosh, we're not looking great on some of our calls back then. To be fair, it was like pre-season testing, so we were like, oh yeah, the Haas looks like it's going to be shit again.
The Haas is trash.
Yeah.
Although Phil did say that the Ferraris were going to be out the front. And
He did.
we both thought
But also said the
McLarens-
Williams were going to be up the
Yeah.
front too.
I
He said
said
the
the
Williams
Williams would be
he said the Williams and the McLaren were going to be out there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was early days.
Yeah.
My
was early days.
next driver that I thought did really well in this race was Jorge Russell, George Russell. I think he outdrove that car because that car, despite what the race and Sky Sports and everyone else seems to think, that Mercedes is not as great as everyone's making it out to be.
It doesn't have the pace to keep up with the...
It doesn't have the
big
pace,
boys.
and it's lacking pretty much everything, but it's got enough to keep it ahead of everyone else.
Yeah,
Yeah.
to scrap in the points
This
the
was
other
a-
teams leave behind.
This was a fucking made it look good sort of day. I mean, Sergio Perez had an off weekend.
Leclerc
Charles
crashes
Leclerc crashed out, and Carlos Sainz started from the back of the grid.
Yeah.
So if Carlos Sainz didn't start from the back of the grid and Charles Leclerc doesn't crash out, and Sergio Perez does what he does,
But they probably don't get a podium.
the fucking Mercedes at 5th and 6th, and,
Yeah.
we're not talking about it. But, we said they were a scrapper team. They had to pick up the scraps, and pick up the scraps they did.
Yeah.
It's a real good day for the team, a good morale boost for them. Not that they fucking need it. Maybe
Yeah.
George needs
Yeah.
it. Lewis doesn't fucking need it. Toto doesn't fucking need it. Toto just needs to keep being down George's throat, telling him to stop bitching and start racing.
Yeah,
That's
I think
George's problem.
That's
Fuck, he's-
that's the thing about Mercedes. They should just rename themselves Team Bitching. Because that's what both of their drivers are now doing. Bitching about this, bitching about that. Just shut up and drive the fucking
Yeah,
car.
I don't know what. George is just like, oh, you should have given me the police back. It's like, fucking just drive, dickhead.
And he never had the place.
You
That's
never
the
had
worst
the
part
place.
about
You
it.
almost
He dived bombed him from well behind.
torpedoed him
Never
from
was in
fucking
front.
150 meters back, and then wondered why he didn't leave me any room.
I think it's just the Mercedes culture. Like I read a thing once with Lando Norris talking about George Russell and says ever since he's been at Mercedes, he doesn't smile as much.
Yeah,
Like he's not
lost
his fun self as he used to be, and they're obviously close because they've grown up racing together. But
You know how we a couple of months ago, how every episode had a Fast and Furious reference?
yeah,
You never had me. You never had your car.
You never had that gap. Doesn't matter if that gap's an inch or a mile. You never had that fucking gap.
a gap's a gap.
A gap's a gap.
Family.
Family. You don't need race rules. when
There
you
was
have
actually a
family.
guy. There was actually a guy on. I think it was Friday night up at Moss on Wood who was making a pass at my missus,
Oh, nice.
and he was bald headed. Like he was either trying to look like Pitbull or Vin Diesel, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm dating the bass player," you know. And I came over because we just finished the set, and he's sitting there trying to talk my ear off, like, "Oh yeah, she said how amazing you are, blah 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 blah." And I'm like, "Yeah, I heard most of the conversation, but she didn't hear half that shit." But the next morning, we were driving to Cuttable, and I turned to her and said, "So, how'd you go with Vin Petrol last night?" And she's like, "Who?" I said, "That guy that was chatting you up, Vin Petrol.
In petrol.
Not quite Vin Diesel." So my
Vin unleaded.
Vin two-stroke.
Vin E10. Vin biofuel. All right, the next key driver for all the wrong reasons is Charles Leclerc. Yeah. He was doing all right until he bottled it.
We're gonna hear that recording of him going, "No." We're gonna hear that like
It's going to
all
be put
through the
over.
season.
It's going to be put over the Darth Vader footage from episode 3. No, no.
Yeah, poor kid. I mean, I want to feel sorry for him, but he brought that on himself.
At least I give him one thing: he took a responsibility for it. I'll
Yeah.
give him that. I like to see that he didn't come out and make an excuse. He said it was me, and I've got to change it. And yeah, I like Charles Leclerc, so I want to see him do better. And like you said, it's hard to feel sorry for him because he
And-
brought it on himself, but he admitted it, and I hope he learns and gets
And
better.
one thing I did notice too is that shortly after the accident and they've got the safety car, Max Verstappen got on the radio and said, "Is he okay?"
I heard that.
If it was
That
Lewis
good.
Hamilton, I'm pretty sure Max would have been going, "Did he die?"
It's like, did he hit that wall at 51G? He didn't.
Did the fans clap?
Fucking pussy.
Bitch.
Are the fans booing him? They should be booing him.
There was one Ferrari fan who took his hat off
Yeah,
and
I
just
saw
smashed
that.
it against the railing. You're
Oh
like,
my
come on,
God.
mate.
That's the epitome of Phil.
That wasn't me.
It was you on the inside. You can fucking tell.
He had all of his hair. That rules me out. It rules you out too.
Yeah, right.
The next driver, for the wrong reasons, was Esteban Ocon. Like, he did get points, but he drove a rather scrappy race.
He didn't deserve points after what he did to Yuki Tsunoda, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
should get more than 5 seconds for that because that ruined that. Yuki Tsunoda put himself in a good position to score points this weekend. He's got into Q3, got into 8th, and Esteban Ocon comes out and does that to him, takes his race out. It's like that can kill guys' careers in a sense because you look at the end of the year and Yuki Tsunoda hasn't built up a certain amount of points. Well, he's not in a car to do it, but when he got himself in a good situation, Ocon completely dive bombs him and.
Yeah,
It was a completely torpedoes into him, gets a 5-second penalty, and he still gets points. It's like,
Yeah.
well, that's, I don't know. I get it, but it's, I don't know. I kind of hate that. It feels unfair to me.
I'm just going to sidestep from this for a second, but we noticed like there was a lot of 5-second penalties, and Carlos Sainz was talking at one point about it was a 5-second penalty, and his engineers know like it's a stop-go penalty. He's like, no, it's 5-second penalty. You don't see any stop-go penalties now.
No.
No drive-through penalties, no stop-goes. It's just a 5-second penalty, and it's just like,
Yeah,
Come on,
where's the
let's-
deterrent for that? Like I understand we want to see wheel-to-wheel racing, and I want to see racing incidents just be racing incidents. But that one was like, oh, you've taken a guy out the race, and it was a really bad move. You know, I feel like 5 seconds doesn't do it justice compared to guys who get 5 seconds for track limits.
Yeah.
You know, like it doesn't seem like the same fair penalty.
Yeah, well,
I-
that's like the Lewis Hamilton argument last year at Silverstone. 5-second penalty wasn't I think his was a 10, actually.
Yeah, you got a 10.
But, even that's one of those, the punishment doesn't fit the crime sort of.
Yeah. Well, I
Fucking
mean,
deals.
look at a few years ago in Australian supercars at Bathurst. I think it was Greg Murphy got, a minute penalty.
Mm.
And he was just livid, like only Murphy can do.
Yeah,
Like
he's
to the point where he got out of the car and went and took a shit.
Yeah,
And then came back.
typical Murph.
But, I mean, they had the camera on him. He's like, a fucking minute? Are you fucking joking? A fucking minute?
Fucking minute penalty in Formula One is like a lap.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, you're
death
done.
knell.
You just retire the car.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm just going to go home.
No, but I'd like to see them use more variety of penalties. Like, if
Yeah.
someone's going to sit there and keep, exceeding the track limits, don't give them a 5-second penalty. Because I think that's becoming a bit obtuse. It's becoming a bit overblown. Give them a drive-through.
That's what they do at the
or a stop go.
MotoGP. That's what they do in MotoGP. They call it a long lap penalty. There's a part of the track where they actually have to drive out and do this longer part of a corner. But I think, the way to curb that in Formula One is to let them do a legitimate drive-through penalty.
Or a
Drive through the
stop
pit
go.
lane. You don't service your car. You just drive through the pit lane within 3 laps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I think supercars still do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the final driver on my could have done a bit better, and it's purely because of what he did towards the end, was Sergio Perez. Like,
He was
did
asleep
he?
like us.
Yeah, did he pack his pillow in his car?
I can't blame him. We're all asleep by this stage.
He probably looked to the side of the circuit and the hypnosis kicked in and he was like, "Ooh, I'm asleep." And George was,
Bit of Doctor Strange action.
yeah,
on
that's
him,
what
yeah.
that's what it feels like watching this race. It's an eyesore. I really don't like it.
So you're one for not missing this track if they axe it.
Oh, I get it. Like, let's put it this way: there's been talk of Spa apparently going. If they get rid of Spa and keep this freaking race,
Yeah.
there needs to be riots. Like,
Yeah.
No, I
these
think-
are the races you scrap. Especially because there's better French circuits to go to. Like, I'm not saying get rid of France having a GP. Just go to a different circuit.
They could
Try
take
it
it to Le Mans.
Yeah.
Could you imagine Formula One doing a lap of the full Circuit de la Sarthe?
Yeah.
That's the full 14-kilometer track, twice as long as Spa. I actually wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah.
The race would only be 20 laps long, but
Why
it'd
not?
almost be like the Nürburgring from the 70s, where it takes
you asked Nicky Lauda about how well that one went.
yeah, but I mean Circuit de la Sarthe's a lot safer.
True.
But I mean,
would find it interesting. It'd bring a whole different element to all the other races we see.
you're doing a fucking 3-minute lap in
Yeah.
a GT car, so
But the problem with doing that is because it is a road track, isn't it? It is a road course,
essentially.
which means porpoising will be mad and you'll end up breaking Lewis Hamilton's back and we'll never hear the end of it.
Porpoising down the back straight would be pretty brutal, actually, yeah. Yeah, I just with shits and gigs, though, I'd love to see an F1 car go around the Le
Yeah.
Mans track.
That would
Just
be cool.
I just want to see a representative lap time, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah.
Like, it could genuinely be done.
But, I mean, if they're going to lose the French Grand Prix, I mean, if it's done in France and they're not coming back to France, then don't give us another street circuit. Just bring back Hockenheim.
They're going to
Yeah.
bring in the Las Vegas street circuit, and I swear to God, if the Las Vegas street circuit is the death of Spa, I'm going to be fucking...
I was just saying we should
ropeable.
riot. If Spa disappears from the calendar
And it's
in
replaced
favour
by
of something
Vegas.
else, and this stays, this race,
This won't
Right.
stay. I think Spa has more of a chance of it staying than...
Well, Stefano Domenicali has stated that he is in ongoing talks with the people who have Spa to keep it on the calendar.
yeah, plus Spa's done fucking redevelopment.
Yeah.
They've redeveloped Eau Rouge and some other corners in accordance with what the FIA wanted. So they've actually gone and upgraded the track to keep the FIA happy, to keep the Formula One going there. Or else then what's the point of fucking upgrading the track?
I think Spa will stay on the calendar.
It has to.
It
I think
has
they'll
to.
get too much
There will
pressure
be
from people
there
hearing
will
about
be
it going.
more worldwide uproar about losing Spa than there will be about losing Paul Ricard.
No one
Yeah.
will care about Paul Ricard. People will be happy. The only
The
people
Fre-
who
the
won't care will
French
be
will
French.
care.
Yeah, well, that's it. That's the only people that will care about losing this race.
Yeah, well,
I don't
just-
know
just
anyone
go
who
to
enjoys
Belgium.
this circuit.
Just go to Belgium
Yeah.
because they're French speaking there.
And that's the thing. At least if you're from France, like how many circuits would be within
Even in Europe,
a tiny
man.
flight? That's what I mean.
Fuck,
so
man, you could drive from... I reckon you could fucking drive like 12 hours and pass 3 circuits, eh?
oh, easy.
Like, fuck.
Drive 12 hours in Europe, you go through half the continent.
Yeah, pretty much.
You do it here, you don't even get out of Queensland.
Welcome to Rockhampton.
Mackay International Autodrome.
Yeah.
Well, that was actually one of my news stories. Was the French GP future? So we've knocked that one on.
Yeah,
the head.
we're not going to be sad to see it go if it goes.
No.
Well,
the talk is, they're looking at tracks like Kalami and bringing it back, and if they want to bring that back in favour of this race. Like
or
the only
in favour of Miami.
Oh yeah, 100% I'm in favour of getting rid of all the American races.
Except for Coda.
Yeah, keep Coda.
Coda's right.
Coda,
don't care about the
Coda
rest.
the track needs to be changed because it is so Herman Tilke. It's not bad.
Not funny, do you mean?
Yeah, that too.
I don't know, man. I fucking... Once you find a rhythm around that lap, it's
Yeah, but-
actually not a bad track to
Yeah,
drive.
but the problem is it's the best bits of other tracks
Yeah.
that have been sticky taped together.
Yeah, but it works. Sort of.
Except for the S's like that are supposed to be cops, maggots, Beckett's, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
That shit does not work on that track.
And considering that that's like the first 6 corners of the lap. too.
Correct.
It's like, hairpin down the curvy bit that was taken from Istanbul Park into the Silverstone S's and then down into something that looks like the back of fucking Yas Marina.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh, it's a bit of a head sore. I get it.
Every time though we come to Herman Tilke, I always remember what I commented on that Australian F1 track video where Mark Scave was like, "Oh yeah, we consulted with the FIA, with Liberty Media, with Tilke, and this and that and that." And I put a comment going, "I was all up for this stuff until you mentioned Herman Tilke. There is no way you could put a long straight and a hairpin on this track."
To be fair, we saw the results of the upgrade in Australia and they were pretty good.
But I love their reply to me, which was,
Who's
who is
Tilke?
Tilke?
It's like, yeah, the less you know about Tilke, the better.
The better.
I replied with, "Don't you watch your own videos?" And I even time-stamped it. I'm like, he says him here. Never heard back from them.
The intern kid doesn't know what they're doing.
The work experience kid.
Yeah. He's like the Fox Motorsport journos.
That's the guy who likes smash Davo on toes.
Yeah, that clown guy.
Right, so that's the first news item. We'll knock that one out. The next one.
So in recap, we don't care about France and Fox Motorsport are clowns. And we hate Tilke.
Perez was caught napping.
And Perez was caught napping, and that's sort of inexcusable.
Yeah.
No, I understand it. It's that Paul Ricard. We're all napping. So. Anywhere else, I'd be
he gets a pass.
Yeah.
He gets a pass. So coming in from Belgium is the new testing and rules about the porpoising.
Yeah.
They're going to be testing the barge board at the front, the middle, and the back now for flexing, because apparently at the moment they're just doing the front and the middle for flexing and not doing the back. And apparently both Ferrari and especially Red Bull have cracked up about this new test, meaning that they've been making their barge boards flex at the back.
Yeah, they're going to get caught out.
Shit, they fucking got us cheating.
And the only reason why they got into it, like where this sort of development has happened, is because Mercedes announced that that's what they were doing.
But Mercedes announced that's how they fixed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mercedes fixed it.
And that's why they were asking for the exemption.
And then they're like, we're pretty sure they've been doing it since the start. And then they're like, fuck.
And then the FIA's gone, oh, well, because Mercedes is doing it and they're a bit further down the grid, now we're going to investigate all the teams for their barge boards.
You know that meme where it's like that fucking puppet thing and he's like looking across and then he looks away to like try to like not attract attention to himself? And it's like, so Mercedes, how did you fix it? Oh, we made our back barge boards flex, and then Red Bull and Ferrari are just like looking away. Like, oh shit.
Well, the funniest thing was, didn't even Christian Horner jump up and down like, oh, we can't be looking into these things mid-season. You know, we can't be looking into this, blah, blah, blah. And we were all even like, well, yeah, we agree. Like, you know, you can't be trying to ask for exemptions, but it's funny now because they've obviously been doing it. That's why they were so against it. It's not like a principle thing. It's like, oh, shit, we're going to get caught.
It's a principal thing, but it's the principal guy. It's the principal of the school of F1.
Cheating.
Yeah, you've been caught by the principal.
About to have an affair scandal come out.
Oh. No, that's WWE.
Yeah, that's run its course.
Look, I think this is a bit of bullshit, to be honest. Changing the rules, and it comes across as we're changing the rules because Mercedes isn't winning.
Yeah,
that's how it comes across to me.
No, fucking if that's the solution to porpoising, then why not just openly let teams?
Yeah, let them all do it if it
Yeah.
makes it fucking
Yeah.
safer.
Yeah, it's like, look, Red Bull and Ferrari figured this out from the start. That's great. Mercedes has done it and fixed its porpoising. So if your car's got problem with porpoising, this is how they fucking did it.
Yeah,
They
don't
made it flexy at the
close the
back.
loophole. Make it okay.
Mandate it next year so no one porpoises.
Yeah, just give the blueprint to everyone. This is
Yeah.
how you fix
Just be like, this
porpoising.
is how we
But-
fixed it.
But like a lot of people think that they're going to push back the rule until next year, kind of like how they were going to
Well,
do the no piercings and special underwear.
Yeah, whatever
type
happened
thing.
to that?
that's a,
Yeah,
it's just got
go-
pushed under the carpet.
Well, it got shoved under the carpet because you know how there's two race directors. There's Eduardo Fuentes and the
Neil
other
Wittich.
There's Quidditch guy and the guy
Yeah.
who wants his cutter back.
dude. Yeah. So the other guy, not Eduardo Fuentes, the other dude,
Niels Wittich.
Quidditch, yeah,
Yeah.
the Quidditch master. He was the one who was like, oh, you know, we've got to enforce the piercings and the special underwear and all this bizzo. And other guy was sitting there going, I don't know why.
Yeah.
Why? What's the deal? See,
Once
Th-
again,
th-
why do we have two of them?
well, we don't have Michael Massey anymore
Michael
because
Massey.
he quit.
Michael Massey's gotten his plan and fucked off.
Yeah, good
I
for
think
him.
he's going to be the new race director for supercars.
I'd like to see
Yeah.
that.
He said he was coming back to Australia to be close to his family. I'm sure he'll
Yeah.
take a job up with V8.
Yeah.
For
you know?
sure.
So,
And he's probably over the fucking circus that the FIA is and how much they've dragged him through the mud. And then this year they're another circus with race directors again by having two. So he's probably, buggy you, I'm off,
yeah, but I mean, like, they threw him under the bus at the end of last year because, he made a call because he wanted, racing at the end of a championship series of racing.
Gave us a fucking best finish we've seen.
Yeah. Except if you're a Lewis Hamilton
Except
fan.
you're a
like,
Lewis fan, he rubbed.
it was manipulated. No. But
yeah,
we'll
it's
get to-
manipulated by all the teams that agreed they wanted racing.
Yeah. I'll get to him in a second. But so now, Michael Massey's gone. They've got two race directors with two different agendas doing two different things, and you've made a bigger mess.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the guy that could have fixed it is back in Australia.
Yeah, he's left now.
Yeah.
And after all the dust settles, I think most people are going to become of the opinion that Michael Massey wasn't that
Yeah,
bad.
maybe Michael Massey wasn't as bad as we
like
fucking...
we've always said it, but I'm starting to hear, like in other circles, people starting to come out like, you know what, Massey maybe okay, that was pretty, call it what you want. Abu Dhabi was a bit fucked up. Other than that, hey, he wasn't that bad. We're not getting better.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, we're getting
compare.
worse.
Yeah, so it's like, maybe he wasn't the issue, and like the circumstances he took over, didn't Charlie
After
Whiting?
Charlie Whiting died.
and he died on the eve of
The
Australian
Australian
F1.
Yeah. So he took over, bang, straight away, fresh off the scene, day one, no preparation, kind of, you know what I mean? Wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
And he did pretty well for a few years.
Yeah.
I don't hear too much complaining about him from 2019, 2020.
Yeah.
It's only the 21 season that there's a few things here or there that was a bit complaining about. But this year, the first year of 2, when we're complaining just about every race.
Yeah. I actually compare it to how bad Ashley Klein was as the referee for State of Origin.
Ashley Klein was the guy in the bunker for the Cowboys Tigers game too. That dude is
Give
getting
me
nuclear.
Cowboys, Tigers.
Yeah,
You said Broncos.
did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cowboys Tigers. I swear to God, that's what I said.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
thought you said Cowboys Rabbitohs, didn't you?
No, I said Cowboys Tigers. Anyway,
Titans and vaping.
Titans and vaping. Yeah,
He
that
said, fuck
that
my
gets-
contract. I'm
that
out.
gets you
So
suspended.
Ashley Klein was the bunker.
Yeah, Ashley Klein. Not only
that's
was
just
he
fuck my point.
Not only was he the referee for State of Origin, he was the guy in the bunker that has made all this controversy about the Cowboys robbing the Tigers. So,
Oh, well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's, no. Oh, well, my
Yeah.
point is fucking mute. I should just shut up about football because I don't watch it. Right, next news item.
Ashley Klein is like the Niels.
The Niels
Williams.
and Eduardo Freitas.
Yeah,
NRL referee.
we've gone from consistency to Ashley Klein.
Right, next news item. Sebastian Vettel's future. People have speculated, including us, that he was going to retire at the end of the season, but he is playing his cards close to the chest. But apparently he is going to sign up for one more season with Aston Martin. What are your thoughts on that, boys?
I don't
Okay.
know why. What's he hoping to get out of one more year with Aston Martin with Stroll still in the team?
He just wants to see if there's going to be any improvement at all. And
He
I
probably just
don't.
wants the paycheck.
I don't think there will be.
Well, I think the car will improve next year.
Slightly.
You want to hope so.
Yeah, no. Hear me out.
Here we go.
Hear me
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Hear me out.
Yep.
See, the reason why this year's car
Stroll.
isn't very good is because they couldn't copy last year's Mercedes.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? So this year, right, next year, they're going to be able to copy whichever car wins the championship. They'll be able to sit there and do a copy of that for next year.
They're going to be the green Red Bull again.
The green Red Bull or the green Ferrari. It won't be a green Mercedes, that's for sure. And then it'll go zoom straight up the front of the grid.
And be like,
In
how the
their
hell did
mind.
Stroll get up here? Something must be going on.
He shaved his eyebrows.
More aerodynamics.
Less weight.
I mean, you say that like every team's not going to copy off every fucking team. Like,
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, they, in 2020, showed up with a pink Mercedes.
yep, they did, and they got in trouble for it.
Yeah. And they fucking deserved it. They fucking deserved to get in trouble for it.
To be fair, though, I did find it interesting to see a different team up the front that wasn't. You know what I mean? Like a different team that was challenging. As
Yeah,
much
but
as they copied, it was like, oh, this is interesting. It's
Yeah,
a
but
different
that's-
team to root for this year.
That's because the Ferrari power unit was crippled by the FIA.
That's
Yeah.
because the Ferrari power unit was illegal.
But
But we
they-
couldn't.
they
But we
couldn't-
couldn't tell you how. But we know
So
it's
it
wrong.
was-
But we know
it
something was
It
wrong.
wasn't illegal. It's just sitting there going off gut
Yeah.
reaction going, I know there's something wrong. I can't find it. But there's something wrong with it. So it's illegal.
It's like the Melbourne Storm in like 2009.
Or-
There's something wrong with this team. I can't tell you. But we'll find it. And we'll fucking
Or
fix
was that
it.
Under the table deals? Is that what it is?
2 contracts.
or was that Parramatta in 2012?
2016.
2016 with the
Yeah.
salary cap?
Yeah, we breached the salary cap and got the spoon.
Well, there you go.
We did it wrong.
You didn't have Bellamy on your coaching
No,
staff.
we didn't have Cameron Smith at the fucking refereeing box either.
All right, so
Yeah, I don't know what to go. What do you guys think of him one more year?
Yeah, well, fuck it. He's probably got nothing to lose.
Yeah. Is he signed
It's-
on for one more year or would it be an extension?
it'd be an extension.
Okay.
There'd be an option in his contract to give him 1 more year.
I mean, he's definitely still a great driver.
It's
He's had
obvious-
drives this year where he's outdriven the car.
Yeah, it's one of those nothing to lose situations, I guess.
Well,
It's not like Aston Martin's going to the fucking moon at the moment.
No.
well, our second favourite team principal.
I know that now.
No. Because our favourite is Gunther Steiner.
Yes.
Correct.
Our second is Mike Crack.
Oh, yeah, Mike Crack. I've heard
Mike
he's-
Crack has said that he's pretty sure he's going to sign up.
Okay.
I've got
So-
a gut feeling in my crack.
Mike Crack, he can make things happen.
My God.
My back.
Right, so the next news item. You know, the sad thing about this next news item was I was all planning to do a rant. Then this race happened.
My neck. My back.
And Matt Crack.
My crack.
Sorry for ruining your
Pull it
rant.
together, gentlemen.
Professional.
So the next news item was Toto Wolff has come out and said utter nonsense.
As Toto Wolff does.
He's getting bad for just spouting shit now that his team's on the back foot.
Yes.
I mean, he was bad at spouting shit when his team was on the front foot too, but
now it's just increasing.
Now it just makes him look bad because they're not winning. When they're winning, it's like, okay, you're winning. But now
So
it's like,
Toto Wolff has said, I think the reason why races have less entertainment is because there's too much performance gap between the teams. If you have Verstappen disappearing into the distance, the two fuck the accent. The two Ferraris be the early entertainment during the race, and then we are in the middle of nowhere in no man's land.
who's in the middle of nowhere? Toto,
Mercedes.
you, or everyone else? Like, he literally... He talks like it's the Mercedes show. Like, or everyone only wants to watch Mercedes. It's not entertaining if we're in the middle. Like, no one wants to watch other teams win, surely.
Less entertainment if there's a performance gap between 2014 and 2021. The fuck?
Oh my God, get out of your own ass.
You're a dickhead.
So
I respect Toto Wolff, but every time he says something dumb, the respect bar drops a little bit, eh?
Oh, I still think he's a great team. Like, what he's done with Mercedes was fantastic and plenty of respect, but...
But he fucking
Yeah,
just opens his mouth.
Just shut up. Like,
Just
say this
stop
shit. And you're like,
talking.
oh, what are you...
Just don't
just-
say
you-
dumb
yeah.
shit.
Well, it's
don't
not that
say
it's
you
just dumb. It's just so far up their own ass.
I
Like,
know.
are you serious? We don't...
completely contradicted himself.
Yeah.
He's like, this is all we fucking got for 7 years.
Yeah. No, nothing then about the less
Yeah,
entertainment.
it's like, oh, it's not entertaining because Lewis Hamilton and fucking Valtteri Bottas aren't 20 seconds up the fucking road from everyone else. You know what wasn't entertaining? Knowing I could go to bed if Lewis Hamilton entered turn 1 in the lead and waking up in the fucking morning and seeing that Lewis Hamilton had miraculously won the race.
Yep.
That wasn't entertaining, Toto. That was shit.
It was so entertaining, Toto, that we had to change the regulations because it was so entertaining.
And the man who brought us entertainment, Max Verstappen, when he actually fucking stood up to your boy, that was entertainment, and you fucking hated every second of it.
and got a team principal fired for giving us entertainment.
Race official,
Yes, Michael Massey.
yeah, got the FIA official fired for giving us said entertainment
Because
And now
it wasn't your version of entertainment.
because we got robbed.
It was
Correct.
manipulated. I'm sorry, but
Not the Mercedes show.
Toto, mate, when you make dumb comments like this, have a think about 2014 to 2020, where it was just your team cycling off into the distance.
Oh, that was the best period of Formula One, Phil.
yeah, it was.
Don't you
it
know
was-
that 2014 to 21 was the pinnacle of Formula One?
It was so entertaining.
Did you see Mercedes? They won every race.
We were
Except
on
when they
8
crashed
constructors.
each other out, and then we got
We
the
had
best.
we had
race of the
Formula
year.
One world champion Nico Rosberg. Everyone
Oh.
loves Nico, right?
Oh,
How
don't-
good is he at commentating?
Oh my god.
That is entertainment.
That's why you fell asleep during the race, because
Oh,
Nico
once he come
Rosberg
up.
was doing his commentary from his fucking room.
bedroom.
He was like, I used to be friends with Lewis, and I'm sitting on a boat.
We're speculating he's sitting on a boat, but it doesn't fucking matter. He's
You
just
know
like,
what it is.
It's
though.
just like, I hated Lewis Hamilton when we were rivals, but now that I'm sitting 3,000 miles away, fuck, I love Lewis Hamilton.
Lewis Hamilton's so great.
And also because I'm still sponsored by Mercedes.
Yeah.
Look at my TV ads
I'm-
where me
I'm-
and my dad
Look at
my
drive
smi-
non-alcoholic fucking beer.
I'm getting paid by Heineken and Mercedes and Sky Sports. Fuck, I love Lewis. I'm sitting on my ass doing nothing for fucking 18 months and, you know, I'm getting all these sponsor checks.
He's got a YouTube channel.
Oh, God.
It's got a podcast, I think, doesn't he?
He's got a YouTube channel, and he has got
It's called Paul Ricard.
Boring.
Paint drying.
What's
Grass growing.
what's the word for boring in fucking German?
Nico Rosberg.
The Nico Rosberg show.
No, his YouTube channel. He has a simulator rig. I'm assuming it's a simulator rig, and he actually goes through every track a couple of days before they drive the track, and shows you how to nail the corners and what speed you should be at to take each corner on the track.
Oh, if you're so good then, Nico, why aren't you still racing?
Why don't you come out of retirement and give Lewis another pep?
Nico, if I want advice from driving around the track, I hate to say this to you, buddy, but Jeff is more consistent than you.
Leave Jeff alone.
Yeah. Old Jeff. I mean, Will Buxton has got more fucking credibility than you. So shut the blue fuck up and get off my goddamn TV, YouTube, and anything else. You can take your Heineken Zero, that awful tasting shite that doesn't let you get drunk, and you can shove that up yours and your stupid father's ass. And now, Toto Wolff. Toto Wolff, I'm sorry, buddy, but you sit there and say this shit. You're only saying it because you're not winning. You know why you're not winning? Because you couldn't build a car because the other two teams that are whooping your ass figured out how to handle porpoising. And you're too busy sitting there going, they fixed porpoising, but we can't, so take it away from them. Fuck you, Toto. It's
No,
called
they
build a
got
car.
reined in by a salary cap is what happened.
Yeah, you can't spend $1 trillion.
Now we can't spend
On the car.
all our fucking Germany's entire fucking national bank on fucking building a car.
Hitler's fucking hidden vault.
Yeah.
Just bringing it out of the mountains. Fucking trains full of gold and shit. It's like, we need to figure it out. And the FAA is
Just
like,
throw money at it.
yeah. Just
That was
throw
the
money
Mercedes
at it.
way. That's what they were
Yeah,
able to do.
yeah.
You
Yeah,
can't
they
do that
can't.
anymore, and now it's better. The sport's better, Toto, so
Yeah.
shut up.
So, yeah, what he said. Shut up, Toto. Go back to Kansas, Toto.
Wrong movie.
Jello pudding eating motherfucker. All right, next news item. So Carlos Sainz and his Ferrari strategy calls. He really is getting really good at telling the Ferrari strategy team to fuck off.
Well, I suppose all you got to do is whatever Ferrari say, you do the complete opposite. Yeah. And it seems to be the better call.
It's like a game, yeah. It's a game of opposites. It's
Yeah.
just like, should we box? Yeah, we should box next
They're
time.
like, Carlos, we should go plan B. And Carlos is like, fuck that, we're doing plan Z. They're like, what is plan Z? I'm just going to do whatever the fuck I want.
operator. Smooth operator. He's just holding the radio button down while singing it. They sit there going, Carlos, we cannot talk to you. Smooth operator. Smooth operator. That's the strategy that you want.
I like it because in the space of a lap, they went from plan D to plan A back to plan D.
Yeah.
And then told him to box while he was overtaking Sergio Perez.
Do you think maybe they're just playing Hangman over the radio? Like, D.
I'll have
Dad, yes, we did it.
They're playing along with Wheel of Fortune.
D-A-D. Dad, yes, correct.
Yes.
Well done, Carlos.
Yes, you did it, Carlos.
Now come into box. I just got past the...
Is my dad in the team box? Hi, Dad.
I just got past Sergio Perez. What do you want me to do? Yeah, come in. Give him the spot back. Fuck it.
Give everyone their spots back.
Yeah, you can give, like, everyone behind you needs their spot back.
You get a spot. You get a spot. Everyone gets a spot.
Hey, smooth operator.
Gosh, what have we created?
Right. Unfortunately, the next news item is a little bit of a sad one, though. Unfortunately, on July 17, it was the 7th anniversary of the passing of Jules Bianchi. And I admit I got a bit teary-eyed when that came up because I was just like, can't believe it's been 7 years.
I know, we were sitting here watching it after Bathurst.
Yeah. And it would have been great to have seen the talent that he had, like, really really blossomed because apparently that he was supposed to get the seat at Ferrari.
In front of Charles, wasn't he?
Yeah.
If Jules was alive now, the Ferrari pairing would be Jules and Charles Leclerc. And that's
Yeah.
a fucking pretty good lineup.
Well, because the lineup in 2015 was Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen.
Yeah.
Raikkonen would have been out of the team at the end of 2015 or end of 2016.
Yeah.
So Raikkonen got a lifeline because of Bianchi's passing, but then his luck ran out and Charles Leclerc got the seat.
Yeah.
But I think Jules Bianchi and Charles Leclerc as a driver lineup would have been a formidable lineup.
Their driving styles were very similar too.
Well,
keep
they
saying
both put it into the wall.
I keep saying Jules Bianchi would have been Charles Leclerc before Charles Leclerc.
Yeah.
He was young, he was talent, he was, exuberant, aggressive, but in a smart sort of way.
Yeah.
I think he had a bit more maturity than Charles as well, just in terms of being able to handle pressure. But unfortunately, we'll never know. So yeah,
But at least silver lining, it brought us the Halo,
it did.
True.
And the Halo saved.
and now we're seeing it save people's lives, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
sport's better for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was the first death in F1 since Ayrton Senna.
It was a long time between drinks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully, it's the last.
Yeah. Well, fucking I hope so.
All right. So moving right along is now the driver standings. So I'm going to hand it over to JB.
Right, 2022 driver standings after the French Grand Prix. In first and pulling away quite considerably now is Red Bull's Max Verstappen, current defending world champion, on 233 points. Second is Ferrari's Charles Leclerc on 170 points. Third is Red Bull's Sergio Perez on 163 points. Fourth is Ferrari's Carlos Sainz on 144 points. Fifth is Mercedes' George Russell on 143 points. Sixth is his Mercedes teammate Lewis Hamilton on 127 points. Seventh is McLaren's Lando Norris on 70 points. Eighth is Alpine's Esteban Ocon on 56 points. Ninth is Alfa Romeo's Valtteri Bottas on 46 points. And 10th is Alpine's Fernando Alonso on 37 points. The Perez
I'm
face.
sitting here doing the Perez face. So I'm not going to ask about Verstappen and Leclerc, but who do you think's going to win between Perez and Sainz at the end of the season?
Signs.
It's too early to say, honestly.
I
I would love to say Sainz. I would like to see Sainz get his head around that Ferrari and keep going.
I think he's got his head around the Ferrari. I think it's just the strategy calls it.
And the reliability.
The reliability, yeah. But I think Sainz will get him.
I think he will.
I think Sainz will be lucky if he fucking even catches Leclerc. I think Leclerc's probably still the faster driver out of those two.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, how many poles has Leclerc got? It's quite impressive. Over one lap, how quick
7?
Leclerc is.
I think it's
This
7.
year? Yeah.
Who do you think's going to go between Russell and Hamilton? I think Russell's going to do him.
I think Russell will do him. I think Hamilton's starting to come on now. But I think George
I think they're going to be within a
consistent.
place of each other for the rest of the season. That I don't even know. Even though it's not that big a gap, I just don't know if Hamilton will breach it because they'll be so close all the year, and they'll be 1 for 1. Like 1 week Russell will pit, the next week Hamilton might pit. I think that's how they're going to sit.
Yeah, they're just going to be neck and neck all year.
Mm.
They'll keep finding their way to each other mid-race because, they're in the same car, the same speed. Yeah, I think it'll be close.
And I think Norris is going to hold off everyone else for 7th.
Yeah, Lando's, despite the machinery he's got, is driving quite well.
Yeah.
He qualified 5th. Unfortunately, he went backwards, but he at least showed that, he's got pace.
Yeah.
And the car over 1 lap's got pace. It's just over a race distance. It just isn't there.
All right. Now, moving right along. Longhorn, you can do the team standings.
Team standings. The 2022 team standings after the French Grand Prix.
You
Is
mean
it-
the French Snorefest?
Yeah, that's the one. We've got at the top Red Bull Racing with 396 points. In second, we have Ferrari with 314 points. Round out the podium, we have Mercedes with 270 points. Then a bit of a drop. Is that a new leader in fourth?
Yes, it
It
is.
is, yeah. In fourth, we've got Alpine with 93 points, overtaking McLaren.
I just noticed just then, that's the top 4 teams of 4 different engine manufacturers.
It's good.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. Then dropping to fifth, we have McLaren with 89 points. In sixth, we have Alfa Romeo, 51 points. In seventh, we have Haas with 34 points. In eighth, AlphaTauri with 27 points. In ninth, we have Aston Martin with 19 points. And lowly at the bottom, we have Williams with 3 points.
It's going to be an interesting scrap between Alfa Romeo, Haas, and AlphaTauri. I think that'll heat up. Aston Martin might come into it, but I don't know. I don't really
Don't
see
think
them.
so.
You know,
I think it's Alfa Romeo Haas that are going to be battling.
It's going to be an interesting scrap between Williams and finding their 4th point. They're just going to be stuck on 3 for the rest of the year.
Unfortunately, I think so.
I think Williams' fortunes will change next year once they get rid of.
Look, they're on the
Alex
up and up,
Albon.
man. Like they got 3 points this year.
You missed that, didn't you?
Oh, how dare you!
They're not getting rid of Albon.
You take my driver's name out of your mouth.
Latifi will be gone.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting at least
Piastri.
here to see, Piastri and Albon. That will be good.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can make some leeway with the car and push up the grid a bit. Give them
the
something
thing
to...
with this regulation is it's going to be easier to make up deficits.
I hope
And,
so.
and being the shittest team on the grid, you get the most wind tunnel time.
Hopefully
Have they
that
got a
amounts
wind
to
tunnel?
something.
You get to fucking, yeah. You get to the lead the most wind tunnel.
I just want to see Williams take a chance on... I'm hoping with these new engines coming in, Williams go buy a Mercedes and they go jump to a Porsche or an Audi or even an Alpine. Take a chance on the Alpine. Like,
Well, I
They're
mean,
doing pretty well.
their greatest success in the 90s came from running Renault engines.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so take
And you
a
get
chance.
one... like, what are they? The third customer? Fourth? How many Mercedes customer teams are there?
4.
Yeah, so they're the fourth customer team, in a sense. You know, if you go to Alpine, you're working just with Alpine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you're the second. You're going. You know, it's just, I don't know. I just
Yeah.
don't see you going far when you're a fourth tier customer team.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
And that's the position you're in, too. Like,
Yeah.
the Mercedes Works team is ahead of McLaren, who's ahead of Aston Martin, who's ahead of Williams. Like, you're literally 4th in the queue. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, your best bet is to get a new engine.
It's like, hey, why don't we take a chance on the Alpine? Like,
Yeah, well, the
You know?
Renault engine's been fucking good this year.
yeah. And what's the worst that's going to happen?
We shot on it in preseason testing because it caught fire.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the Renault engine's like on fire.
Now they're one of the most
It's
reliable
literally-
cars on the grid.
And now it's like bulletproof. It was the fastest engine in a straight line at Baku.
yeah.
It's bulletproof. It's consistent.
It's in the points every week.
It's in the points almost every week, yeah.
Yeah.
It's actually worth taking a gamble on, which
Have-
is something I wouldn't have said.
Yeah, just do it. Like
And,
I said.
mean, what does Williams gain by being a Mercedes B team?
But at the moment,
Nothing.
they're like
Nothing.
the C team. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
not even the B team. It's like McLaren is the B team if you want to, you know.
Well, there's still rumours going around that Aston Martin is going to start developing their own engine for 2026.
Good, they should if they want to go anywhere. And if Williams want to go anywhere, you've either got to jump on one of these potential new suppliers, or because you know the queue's too big for Ferrari. You're just going to be a C team for Ferrari as well.
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
I mean, if the rumours are true that Audi has bought Sauber, which means Alfa Romeo is going to be ditching,
Ferrari.
well, Alfa Romeo is not going to be on the grid because the team is going to be renamed Audi F1,
Yeah.
And running Audi engines.
running Audi engines,
Mm.
which means that's a less team for Ferrari to provide engines to. If I was Williams, I'd hitch my wagon onto Audi.
Yeah, that's what I would be doing. Hitch it onto one of the teams that have got room to supply. You know,
Yeah.
an Alpine or an Audi when they come in. Don't jump on the Mercedes or the Ferrari. You know, Red Bull's doing their own thing. They're going to Porsche, aren't they?
Apparently, yeah.
Yeah.
And Honda, there was reports from Honda that they're not sticking around F1, but they're still watching it from afar. Like they're not out. They're not in, but they're not out.
They're doing what they always do. They leave and they're like, oh, hang on, maybe we should have stayed.
What if Red Bull fucking just goes to Porsche engines and then Williams scores a deal with Honda?
Yeah, that's what they need to be looking at. Like these new engines or these people on the teetering. Like, hey, we're Williams. We got a fantastic name. You know, one of the biggest names in Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
Come be, our team. Like, try and score a manufacturer of an engine that's going to put all their time into you.
Yeah.
They care for you. You're their brand. You are them.
Yeah.
When you're Mercedes, you're just, here's an engine. Here you go. Off you go.
Yeah, here's an engine.
Because we're
here's-
Mercedes,
Here's our engine. Here's permission to use our Silver Arrow logo on your overalls. Now,
Yeah.
fuck off.
Yeah, and by the way, can you try out one of these drivers we might like? We want to see if he's good enough for the top team. So he's going to take up a spot in yours. So you're not getting in the talent. Williams aren't chasing the best driver they can get. They're chasing the best driver of the rest that the other teams are waiting to see to get in.
They're getting seat warmers.
Yes, yeah. Like it's not like they're going for Carlos Sainz after his year at McLaren.
Yeah.
They're going for who will lend? Oh, let's lend us Alex Albon. We'll give him another chance in the and don't get me wrong, he's been great, but they're getting pay drivers. Latifi, and look what it's doing. It's like,
And I thought Williams didn't need it.
well, that's the way they're going. It's the way they're meant to be going with the financial backing they've got. So I'm really hoping next year they start putting them money where their mouth is what they're saying, and they start actually being aggressive and going, we don't want to be Mercedes. We just don't want to just be on the grid. We want to win.
Yeah, we're one of the most successful teams in Formula One history.
Yeah. Let's have
Okay.
a go again.
And also, Williams needs to take their little screen off the cockpit and put it on the steering wheel like everyone else.
Yeah.
Instead of driving around a steering wheel, it looks like what Mika Hakkinen was using 20 years ago.
It does, doesn't it? It's the worst steering wheel. I
Yeah.
can't stand it when I see it.
But I think McLaren are okay with Mercedes because they just get the power unit. Everything
Yeah.
else they build themselves.
Yeah, they build the gearbox and all the fucking housings themselves, so they're fine.
Yeah.
And Haas, I think Haas are happy with the Ferrari arrangement.
Yep.
I would be.
And especially going forward with Alfa Romeo going to Audi, it's like bumps them up to being closer partners with Ferrari,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
they're always going to be because they share a factory. So
Yeah.
that's fine. Their relationship, AlphaTauri is always going to be Red Bull's B team. That's fine. That's what they're there for. It's like, Williams, you're the one that is sort of sitting in limbo. Where are you going? Are you going to be a Mercedes, suck off team?
Yeah, they
Or are you gonna
deserve
have a
better.
go? Yeah, they do. Have it, like I said, have a go at the Alpine. Have a go at one of these new engines coming in. Don't just sit there and settle for being I don't know.
Unfortunately, they signed an agreement that I think ends in 2026.
Yeah.
That they are being supplied by Mercedes, and not just power units, but the similar deal to Haas,
But
where they're getting parts. and
This is
stuff.
the problem you have when you don't have the foresight to see that everyone jumped on Mercedes because they dominated a certain era, but they didn't have the foresight to think, we're about to go into a different era. Well, let's not tie us to a team that dominated one area and just expect them to bring it over the next. Like,
Well,
things
I
are going
think-
to change.
I think the problem that Williams has when they signed this agreement was that
They had no money as well, I suppose.
they had no money, and they were getting all this stuff from Mercedes, but they didn't realize that, yes, you're getting the power unit from Mercedes, but you're not using the same software and all the stuff that they're using. You're not unlocking all that potential in that power unit.
You're not getting all the data they have on it.
Yeah, you're not
just
getting the
engine.
goodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just getting the bare bones and told to go nuts. And like whenever there's an engine update, the factory team gets it first, and then like 5 races later, they might get the update.
Yeah.
That's always the way it's been, though.
You know, it's
That's the drawback of being a customer team.
I
That's
just
right.
don't think you're ever going to be, this day and age, you're never going to win races being a customer team. The only way you can, unless you are, like I said, you're getting one engine from one manufacturer.
Yeah.
But
So-
perhaps that's Ron Dennis was right in his comment when when McLaren signed with Honda, by saying you'll never get anywhere being a customer team. You really need to be a factory team in order to win.
You do.
Unfortunately, that didn't work for McLaren.
Unfortunately, we went through our worst period ever.
GP2
But then look
engine.
what happened to Honda. The Honda ended up coming good for Red Bull, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's timing as well, but you've got to have those go. You've got to throw those darts at the board. Like,
I think the problem McLaren had with the Honda was that Honda were underprepared, and McLaren, not so much McLaren, but Ron Dennis himself, was very narrow-minded, as in the Honda engine had to fit what they had built as a car.
Yeah, they wouldn't build the car around the engine.
Yeah, it was the other way
They had to
around.
build the engine around the car and then wondered why the reliability sucked.
Yeah.
It's like, maybe if you let them build the fucking engine,
yeah.
then you build the car around it, we could have had fucking early speed of like the initial Red Bull phase. And maybe McLaren would still be with Honda now.
Yeah.
We'll never know.
Potentially. Yep. But that's what Williams have got to do. Yep. You've got to take a chance at a Honda who's if they're teetering on the line, hook it up.
Yeah.
Come to us, Honda. Come be, Williams, Honda, and
Well, I think Jos Capito's got to listen to his own advice.
that's right, 100%.
You know?
100%.
Right, so that's the results. Our next episode should be in about a week's time because the Hungarian F1 is next week, and then we've got a couple of weeks break. But also next week is 1st of August, which means it's rush time.
Oh, it is.
It is rush time. So
Yes.
we implore you, and we'll implore you again when we record the episode, to go watch the movie Rush on Netflix, on Blu-ray, wherever you can find it, because it's an amazing movie.
It's brilliant.
Next week is the Hungarian F1,
Should be markedly more exciting than what we saw.
particularly if it rains,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
like last year.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a Red Bull track.
Ferrari seem to like the slow corners here, though.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did on the
I think
at
it
this
could be.
circuit. They did.
I think it's going to be a good battle.
See, I'm doing it in reverse by saying Red Bull's going to do well here. The Ferraris will do really well.
Well, you
going
know
for that
who's
in rever-
doing-
Yeah.
You know who historically does well at Hungary? It's McLaren.
Well, actually, another team that does really well at Hungary is Alpine.
So
They won it last year.
What you're saying, Phil, is if I say I think Aston Martin will do all right, the Williams might have a chance of
Yes.
getting that 10th spot.
Look, man,
Yes.
if we have a first corner like we did last year, Williams will have a chance to fucking... It's like a big broom just goes through the front.
it depends which Williams driver survives the first
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, if Latifi survives, you're in trouble. But
Yeah.
if Albon survives,
Yeah,
You're
you
on.
you get a finger wiggle.
Yeah.
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 Right. So next week is the Hungarian F1. Hopefully, it's a wet race at the start, just to spice it up a little bit.
Yeah, you need a bit of rain to throw up a bit of controversy these days.
Right.
Change it up a bit.
So now we've got our plugs here.
The plugs.
The
Plugs. So if you can check us out on YouTube on the F1 Chat, care of Vindicator 18 channel. On Facebook on the F1 Chat, engage with us in the conversation on there. On the Twitter
Yes.
with the F1 Chat 1. Don't forget the 1.
the number one.
And on Spotify, the F1 Chat. Join us on there and have a listen to us ramble on and swear incoherently at stupid stuff, particularly Toto Wolff or the Ferrari strategy team. Those are the plugs. Please, like I said, engage with us in conversation and let us know if you like the content or not. Not that we're going to change or do anything because we don't listen anyway. But
That's not entirely true. We got one bit of feedback, and I decided to not swear as much.
yeah, but that was because your mum said that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
engagement.
With
and
the
feedback.
fans, okay? It's JB's number one fan.
It's my number one fan. I wouldn't say that she's F1's number one fan. I don't think she...
It's the same with my missus. Like she
was
doesn't
just-
watch F1, but she's like, I'll listen to it because you're on it.
She'll see it on Facebook because I'll just spam the F1 page. And she'll be forced to see F1 highlights whether she wants to or not.
Do you know what? One thing that keeps getting funny, I keep going to comment on when you post stuff on the F1 chat, and I keep going to comment on it, but it comments me as the F1 chat. I don't know how to change it back to just me as a person.
The way people get around that on other pages is they put their initials at the bottom.
Right, there you go.
Yeah, that's what I've been doing on the Parramatters page.
Righto.
If it's me commenting and it's not me personally, but as the Parramatters, I'll put JB down the bottom.
There you go.
Yeah,
I'll start doing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Talking because would like to put some comments on, see if anyone starts engaging with it.
yeah, absolutely.
Good.
All right. So that's another episode wrapped up.
See
That's
you
a
next
wrap.
week.
Done.
That's a wrap.
And we've got a couple of bloopers from me trying to start the damn episode that I left on, so I'll be able to chuck them on at the end. But on behalf of JB and Longhorn and our lost buddy Barry Enchilada.
Forever
Who?
lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's that?
Get out of the fucking cemetery. You're crazy. No, you laugh at me. There's a fucking story. He rang me. He was on an e-scooter that like ran out of battery or something, and he was stuck in the middle of the cemetery.
What was he doing in the middle of the cemetery?
I
in his
fucking
e-scooter?
don't know, but he freaked
Ferrari
out.
strategy.
I don't know.
To work.
But he was fucking like freaking out. It was hilarious. Anyway, get out of the cemetery and get back here and watch a fucking race with us and engage with us.
Yeah, particularly in about 3 weeks' time for the mid-season episode.
Yes.
Yes, get in there, Lewis.
2 more teams to do, JB. How far are you in?
Uh,
I bet you've almost finished, right?
yeah.
Finish starting.
I wrote down notes. Notes, semicolon. Blank.
I've already done mine.
All of them? Oh,
Yeah.
You're on it. You're on it.
Yeah, but I think I'm going to change one of the teams to something else.
I've got my 3 customer teams, but my 3 works teams, but I got to do my customer teams.
I've even got my joke team done.
Yeah.
A joke team.
A joke team, yeah.
Is that an extra on top? Or is that just part of...
Oh,
The six.
that's. I just wanted to do something humorous because I saw someone had done the livery for this team, and I was just like, I could totally do an entire joke team out of this.
Hell yeah.
Nice. Here
All
for
right.
it.
Just know that the engine is supplied by Elon Musk.
Ah, right.
All right, so
Hell yeah.
I think you can see the level of insanity that's going to go on with this. It's someone who's shown up in a few episodes of the F1 chat, and a few episodes of Drive to Survive.
There's a hint for you.
There's
Nice.
a hint.
It's Will Buxton
No.
as team principal of Paul Ricard Racing.
Not quite Paul Ricard, but it's something out there.
Fucking obvious racing.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Will Buxton. I'm principal at fucking obvious racing. Me being team principal means I am the principal of the team.
I'm sorry, I was watching the Ronnie Johns half an hour. And they got a running skit where they're like, do you like the ability and the utilitarian design of a ute, but like to drive a small hatchback? Do you like to wear a pink flannelette shirt? Do you like to have a beer for the manliness, but like a spritzer for the taste? It's the new fragrance from Puff de Bagard.
On that bombshell, it's time to end. Back to the studio.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. We've just offended everyone. But thanks everyone for tuning in. We will see you next week unless we get taken off the internet. Bye. Hello out there in internet land. This is episode 14. No, yes, episode 14. Fuck it, I'm starting again.